Laura Pidcock.
Thank you very much, Mr Owen. I rise to speak to Labour's new Clause 6. As my honourable friend, the member for Brent Central, Labour's Shadow Minister for Women and Equalities, has laid out before the House, this clause would require the Chancellor to carry out and publish a review of the effects of the provision of the Bill on equality. In short, new Clause 6 touches on the fundamental difference between the Labour Party and this failing government, whose policies work for only the richest few. It seeks to shed light on the truth of who benefits from government choices and who does not. In order to change society, we must understand society, and in order to have a fully functioning democracy, we need transparency. People in my constituency deserve to know what is going on, not least because this government is failing the country on so many levels. It is really hard to know where to start. New Clause 6 refers to equality in relation to households with different levels of income. Real pay has fallen. It's now lower than it was in 2010. Too many jobs that have been created are insecure and entrench poverty through low pay. These employment models fuel inequality. Certain parts of the country, particularly in my own region of the North East and my own constituency, have a disproportionate number of workers on these contracts, where there has been a long-term move towards casualisation. Because this poverty is not just about worklessness. 60% of people in poverty live in a UK household where someone is in work. Because we see many professionals who have joined the queues at the food banks, where nationally 1.4 million emergency food parcels were handed out last year. This has to be, doesn't it, a perfect symbol of a failed state, and the government just don't get it. Britain has the fourth highest level of inequality in Europe, and the immediate future doesn't look any brighter thanks to government policies. The Institute for Fiscal Studies have predicted that inequality is likely to increase. And on child poverty, the shocking facts are that 3.7 million children are currently living in poverty in the UK. 1.7 million of those in severe poverty. 1.7 million children in severe poverty in the sixth richest economy in the world. And they scoff at our side for not applauding the increase in jobs. They scowl at us for not subscribing to their mantra that work is the best way out of poverty. And that's because we live in the 21st century, where many work is short-term, it's low-paid, it's precarious, and it's far away, and therefore it exacerbates the poverty that many in my community face. And no, of course, worklessness is not the solution, but good quality, higher paid jobs that are secure. New Clause 6 review is comprehensive and inclusive, addressing economic inequality from a number of often intersecting viewpoints, including from a regional perspective. The national figures are appalling, but in the North East these are even worse, because let's be clear, in our region and in my constituency we have been left behind. Whilst we have been crying out for investment born of an industrial strategy that gives us our fair share, we've in fact got a long-standing neglect, and it acts like a scar on our landscape. These policies have real and devastating effects like this. In North West Durham, 21% of children live in poverty. And what does that actually mean? It means children coming to school with empty bellies. It means parents, usually women, reducing their portions or skipping meals to make sure their children get enough. And what's worse, the children know that the parents are doing this. It's about the daily grind of people having bills through their door, and that sinking feeling that you can't pay them, and the fear of sanctions, further punishments for poverty, all the while people working extremely hard for that existence. And latest figures show that households in the North East have £100 less to spend a week than in the South East. I will give way.
Well, my honourable friend agree with me that the limit on child benefit now increases poverty, and does she recall that the government in some of its slogans used to say, let's make work pay, well, work doesn't pay, because it's poverty wages that's being paid to people.
Absolutely right, and we've seen lots of inadequacies in the universal credit system that completely smash out of the water that work pays under the Conservative government. Even considering housing costs, which I know take a huge slice of wages from people in the South East, in the North East we're still £84 worth off. The disparities in investment in my constituency create a really vicious circle. We cannot attract the large-scale business investment that we desperately need without the infrastructure and the skilled people. And as much as Derwentshire College in my constituency is a beacon of excellence in terms of the education it provides, it is like every other further establishment college in the country. It has a dwindling budget to educate the future skilled workforce that we need. Absolutely.
I'm very grateful, my honourable friend, because she's making an excellent point. I mean, there are very good further education colleges all over the North East of England. My own in Gateshead is a very good example. But I'm sad to say that when young people are leaving those colleges with skills, they do what generations of Geordies have done, and they leave to come south for jobs because that isn't the investment in the North East of England.
It is heartbreaking. Of course, we want to keep as many of those brilliant young people in my own constituency and the education that they've received there to be put back into infrastructure and a rich economy in my own constituency, but the long-term employment just is not there. And of course, Mr Owen, New Clause 6 also seeks to address equality in relation to gender, because it is women in my constituency and right across the country who have borne the brunt of this inequality, as most women always do. Women, and particularly working-class women, suffer structural inequality throughout their lives. On average, women earn less than men, have lower incomes over their lifetime, and are more likely to be living in poverty. Therefore, women, as has been mentioned, are less likely to benefit from cuts to income tax than men, are more likely to lose out because of cuts to social security, benefits and public services. So, in conclusion, I urge members to support New Clause 6 and call on the Government to carry out equality impact assessments so that my constituents can, in black and white, see the hard facts, see the truth. If this government are so proud of their achievements, why aren't you shouting them from the rooftops and receive full credit for them? Why not let everybody know what government policy has achieved? Because unfortunately, Mr Owen, as we know, members on this side know, that these facts will tell the truth, will reveal that this government does not care one jot about my region, that they are happy for wages to stagnate, for people to experience poorer lives and all of the consequences that are brought with those poorer lives. Even if people in my constituency work extremely hard, they definitely do deserve much better. Please support this amendment and let us see what this government is actually doing to our region. Yeah.